O.J. Simpson put a finger on about how he got his
Oh,
vaccination.
fucking Jesus Christ. Hey, Twitter world, it's me, and I just got myself a vaccination. You all need to get yourself a vaccination too.
Wow.
Hello, Internet. Now please, hold on to your butt. As two comedians attempt to talk about serious subjects in a not-so-serious manner. From the mysterious to the utterly vicious, everything is fair game. This is the Kill Them With Comedy podcast, featuring true crime, amazing events, conspiracies, unsolved mysteries, and an array of weird and wonderful topics, all for your enjoyment. You're welcome.
And that proves that even people that you would trust with your life can, at some point, go fucking crazy.
Where's the thing? Actually, I don't need to play the thing, do I? Because I'm not doing it live, so I can just put it in after.
Yeah,
I
you
need
can
to
always
update
edit it
anyway.
afterwards.
Yeah. I'm just lazy, man. I start like us doing it, and I'm like, I can just do it now. It means I have less to do later.
Yeah.
But hello everybody then to episode 18 of the Kill Them With Comedy podcast, the show where two comedians attempt to talk about serious things in a not so serious manner. I am the creative force behind all things KD Comedy Inc. and your creative and your comedic babyface, KD HInken. I've already started drinking. And I am joined as ever by my fellow funny friend from around the comedy circuit. He is the creator of the award-winning post-apocalyptic Metal Treehouse sketch show, Mr. Nathan Parish. How the fuck are you doing?
Not bad, man. Not bad. As we were just saying, been doing a lot of work, and then, as I say, got Call of Duty, and that's basically been my day. Is just shooting zombies over and over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Is that the zombie game with the exoskeleton? That's what I meant to ask you a second ago. Is that exoskeleton?
No, yeah. No, that's the older ones. Like Advanced Warfare had the exoskeleton, and I don't know if the Black Ops after that had it in. But I kind of wish it did, because that one's got Jeff Goldblum as like one of the main characters in the zombies thing.
I've played that one. Okay, yeah, I know exactly which one you mean. That's the one I've played a lot. Okay, I'm with you now.
Yeah. That one, unfortunately, I haven't been able to play because I, first of all, just don't own it, and second of all, I don't know anyone who plays it. But this new one, it's pretty fucking cool. They've added an extra like depth to the story in it, so you're sort of doing extra things, and you've got objectives to do, and you've got to find your way into the base, and then you sort of upgrade your guns off of something you find in there.
Maybe you didn't know this either. Apparently, they've been doing that for the last couple of games. I never knew this either. I got into zombies, and people started telling me to do stuff and find these things. I'm like, what are you talking about? Just shooting things? But apparently, you're supposed to do stuff for the other ones too.
Jesus. Like in that one, the last one I played was Advanced Warfare, and that one had like Easter eggs that you could do, but the vast majority of it was still just wave-based combat.
Yeah. It is. It doesn't finish anywhere. But yeah, I know there was something in that one. I'm trying to remember now, because you get that. Oh, what was it? There was some machine you had to get parts for and then turn on.
Oh,
something like that. That rings a bell.
Yeah, I think that was one of the later ones. Yeah.
I don't know. You know what? I think that one is actually. I'm going further back. I think. Do you remember the one where you're fighting the zombie Nazis and you're in the theater? That's a thing, isn't it?
That could have been either that might have been Black Ops 1 or 2.
It might have been.
Because I know in Black Ops 1, the zombies mode was actually a secret thing that no one was aware of originally. It was a secret mode in the game, and like you could unlock it and find it, and then people played it so much that Activision were like, okay, maybe
what a shock!
We make a game mode,
What a shock! People shooting zombies, they'd like. Surprising that is.
What a surprise! Yeah. I'm going to start my beers. We're on a Kronenberg today. No whiskey,
no whiskey.
You know,
I was going to tip you as well. I've actually got a drink. I was drinking another one of these whiskey. What am I on about? I was drinking another one of these gin things, and I even put it in a glass because I was going to virtually clink glasses with you, but screw you then.
That's very nice. Yeah.
I'm going to drink it still.
I do like Kronenberg. I'm not sure if it's just because of the adverts, but the ones which had Eric Cantona in it, and he's like, the Kronenberg.
Yeah. I drank 2 big of a mouthful, then I just drank the whole bottle in one, basically. Yeah. Oh, give me a sec. Oh, okay. What's been going on in the world lately, Nathan? Because I don't know about you, but I've been ignoring it.
So have I.
The end.
I have no interest in it. Yeah.
Have you seen the Elon Musk thing?
No. I'm always in for a bit of Musk news, man. I like some. Yeah, I like some deep Musk.
Got me. That did. No, this is over the last thing. What was it? By just want to get the year right. He has announced over the past couple of hours that by 2026 he plans to have people on Mars.
Fuck yes.
Apparently that's 7 years
down.
only. 7 years only than NASA, man. You want to go up?
I'll take it. I'll take the ticket. Yeah, fuck it. Why not? Dude, I will literally be the first comedian on Mars. Like, no one will have any other option apart from to listen to my sketch show. That is...
And then you get up there and Kevin Hart say, oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, fuck it. Jesus
God damn it.
Christ.
That's banging. I don't know if it's got anything to do with this... There was this British person that recently created some new rocket. There was something to do with nuclear fusion rocket or something like that. I don't know if it's got anything to do with that, but that was only a few days ago. So it feels a bit quick to me.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the most logical way to get a big ship to Mars at the moment is use the new Starship rocket, whichever one it is. I can't remember the number. Excuse me. to get a load of stuff
in these headphones. Then that was amazing.
Yeah. The idea is to get all the stuff to the moon, and then on the moon you can build a moon base that will allow you to build stuff way quicker because it's way less heavy. And they've got a pretty massive. Yeah, you can make a pretty massive ship that then has like an explosive plate on the back. And you literally just fire nuclear bombs out the back and detonate them against the plate at the bottom, at the back of it.
That's not what
rockets it through space. Yeah, this is a different way of doing it. It's
I mean, that makes it makes sense. That would work, firing nuclear rockets out of you. Right? That's I can imagine that.
Yeah.
See, I thought you was going to go down the take the water that's on the moon and use that, but no, we're going down nuclear rockets. I like that even better.
Yeah, no, the nuclear rockets works really well. Yeah.
That sounds a hell of a lot more fun, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, just everyone hold on to your seats. We're about to rock and roll our way to fucking Mars.
Oh, Russia's falling apart as well, isn't it? Now I saw that.
Well, yeah, the I can't remember the guy's name. The
Bell, something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, so something like that. Yeah, the guy who's just basically. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's a brave fucker to go back in. I mean, you've just been poisoned with Novichok, and it's like, fuck it, I'll go back. They can't stop me.
Yeah, that's the last I knew that he got poisoned over here, and then apparently he's back, and his wife's been like. Do you know more about that than me?
Yeah, literally, basically, as soon as he stepped foot in Russia, they arrested him like that. Oh, and there's a video of like they've not just stopped with that guy as well. All of his like party is going with him as well because they're starting to get more stuff like riots in the streets for this guy. They're really starting to clamp the fuck down, and there's footage somewhere of one of his supporter friends playing a piano in a house while like the special police are going through her stuff and arresting her at the end of the video.
Oh, okay.
Fucking bizarre, man. Yeah.
It's crazy, man, but it's one of them, isn't it? It's the kind of thing you need over there, from what I've seen. Like people just start really kicking off because I don't know a lot about this. Like from what I've seen, Putin has been in power for a long time. I imagine it's not. I might sound really dumb now. I imagine it's not a normal democracy over there. Or
no, it's not. No, it's nowhere near.
No. I know it wouldn't actually be, but do they even put across the idea that it is?
Yes. Yeah. But the weird thing about the way Russia works is that they appear to have, from first glance, a democratic system.
Okay. Yeah.
Because Putin has not been premier for the entire time, or whatever. Occasionally, he's had someone else who has worked for him become the person in charge, and then he takes the reins over again. Like it's something to do with the constitution, which says, every so often you've got to not be in control. So Putin goes, okay, you come here, you work for me, and then at the end of the day you fuck off again.
So it's essentially like
otherwise they die.
It's essentially like he goes to like vice president or something. I know it's not the same, but then someone else goes in, and then he's like, I can take over again now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And the thing is, a lot of Russians still really like Vladimir Putin. They like a strong leader. They like someone who doesn't really give a shit.
And he's like ex-KGB and all that, isn't he?
Yeah, he's ex-KGB. He's a violent dude.
That's one word for it. Yeah.
Seems
and to quite well from what I've seen, though.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I've got a friend whose grandparents were sort of quite big in science and technological advancements of stuff like power stations and shit. And at one point they were, I think, whether it was Vladimir Putin's own party or just a party where Vladimir Putin was there. But they apparently met him, and then they said, he was a lovely chap. And it's like, yes, of course, yeah, he is. He's probably
sociopaths normally are.
He appears to be very lovely. Yeah.
Because you've got to be a bit of a sociopath in that sense, surely.
Oh yeah. That dude is fucking dangerous.
It's interesting.
I wouldn't get on the wrong side of him.
No, it's interesting to see what's going on over there, but it's just one of them. You've kind of seen the same thing before. Nothing much has happened, but this is getting a bit more traction, so maybe. But
the thing is, unless there's like a genuine, serious revolution, nothing's really going to change. It's just, you kind of need people to have civil war for Vladimir Putin to be removed.
Yeah, and that doesn't seem like a good idea right now. Because
it's not going to work. Yeah, he's definitely going to clamp down. He's got a huge amount of very militarized police. He doesn't give a shit what anyone thinks.
It's true what someone said before when we was doing this live. It's like, it start off all happy talking about the subject and get to the end of it, it's like, not much we can do about it.
Yeah, it's not great, is it? Yeah. the thing we can always remember is, even if Vladimir Putin does take over the entire world and becomes like supreme leader to the galaxy, at least he goes around riding bears.
There you go. And it's like David Cameron, for example, who went around riding pigs. So it's better.
Yeah.
I swear there was a thing about him fucking a pig.
Yeah, apparently sticking his dick in a dead pig, which is.
Why do I feel like that he said that he confirmed it? That's got to be false in my head, surely.
Well, apparently it's actually a thing that has happened before in Eton and Oxford and Cambridge, places like that. It's a sort of, it's like a ritual that people have to do, and it's like, you come in and you do this, and then you're part of the crew. And
I would not want to be in that crew again.
No.
Are you a fan of this is totally not to do with the wrestling thing. Are you a fan of the Great British Bake Off at all?
I've watched bits of it, usually when my mum is.
It's not that bad, and shockingly the celebrity one's on soon, and it's almost as if every single A-list celebrity hasn't got anything else to do at the moment, because the lineup this year is ridiculous. Yeah, it's surprising, isn't it?
So who do we have?
I can't remember all the people. I did mean to write them down, but there's like James McAvoy. Do you know him?
What?
Exactly. That's the one that stuck out to me.
James fucking McAvoy.
Doing the Great British
fucking Professor X is just going to be like, I'm going to make myself a tart.
Quite a few of Disney rascals. Oh, that was it. Yeah. There's him, and also the main woman from Star Wars is doing it.
What? Daisy Ridley?
Yeah.
What?
It's so random, isn't it? I found this so weird when I heard it.
That's fucking bizarre. Just for some reason, like, yeah, fuck it, why not? What else have I got to do? Like,
I don't really blame them, to be fair. It's probably better than dancing on ice.
yeah, and they're getting paid for it, I'm sure. Or, you know.
Yeah, I'm guaranteed they fucking are. Okay, then. So, Chris Benoit, then, anyway. So,
yes.
You know who Chris Benoit is, don't you?
I do. He is. He was a very famous wrestler, very, very, very popular, and yeah, it didn't end well.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So, yeah, like I said, very famous wrestler. He was in WCW, ECW. He was in WWE, obviously, for a while. Been in a few other random things too, but they're obviously the most known ones. Few of the things he originally got in, this will make sense a lot more as we go on. It probably makes sense to you already as I say this, but one of the people he loved and made him start wrestling was someone called the Dynamite Kid. And he was famous for the diving headbutt, which is what Chris Benoit took on. And Chris Benoit did in every single match he had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. Jesus Christ. See, I actually didn't know that. I didn't know that was his signature move. And, like, that explains so fucking much.
But he was one of them people as well. He would regularly let people give him unprotected headshots. Like, he wouldn't even put his hands up. Back in the time in wrestling when you were allowed, you know, to take shots to the head. You're not even allowed to anymore.
Yeah, no, because they know what CTE is.
Exactly. Yeah. And he would go through concussions, not telling anyone. What I thought I would do to start it off, though, is show a quick little video about his last appearance in WWE before what would happen.
Go for it. Yeah.
Let me find it. Okay, so this is his last appearance on WWE ECW, the little ECW revival that they brought on. This was, I think, the Wednesday, but the Wednesday or so before the pay-per-view on Sunday. Okay, and then they kissed.
The tension was too strong.
I thought he was CM Punk that he was even supposed to face, but he was due to face CM Punk. Yeah, literally like days later, but he would literally never make that show.
And I mean, CM Punk is an interesting story in and of himself, but yeah,
it's really surprising that considering it's CM Punk, I'm really surprised I haven't heard him talk about that. I've never.
Yeah.
It's surprisingly hard to find many people talking about it online anyway, considering, like, it's a weird one.
There might be a bit of the McMahon happening there, because we all know, you know, that Vince McMahon is a little bit controlling when it comes to wrestling, and
this isn't even a thing to do with murders that McMahon could have had some part in. I don't know how much. Well, it seems obvious more than anything that he didn't have any part in covering anything up because he got fucking embarrassed by this, is one way to say it a bit later on. But going back to like former stuff, you know, you ever heard the name Jimmy Snuka?
Yeah, Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Yeah. Have you heard about his murder stuff that went on?
No.
Jimmy Superfly Snuka back in the day, I don't know when it was, like it was like, you know, old school style WWE for like 80s or something like that. It seems as though basically he had a lot of domestic abuse stuff going on, and he killed his wife at the time.
Jesus.
Yeah, there was some domestic stuff that had gone on, and it was basically completely obvious that he killed her. It was something really silly, like he said that they had a fight outside in the car or something, and he hit her, and she was okay, and then he carried her into the bedroom, and then she died in the bedroom. It was something really weird.
So it was accidental as opposed to deliberate, basically, is what he was trying to.
What he was trying to say, yeah. But there was something to do with some money that was involved with Vince that covered it up. But basically, he got done. He would have got done for it in the end, like literally like 7-10 years ago at the most. but he was he got like onset early dementia, so he couldn't get done for it. He was deemed, you know, unable to stand trial, unfit to stand trial.
Yeah.
So
That's fucked.
Yeah, that kind of goes towards the whole, like, you know, I can understand. There's been one of those weird conspiracies for all of this, because after I saw that kind of stuff, I listened. I'm getting ahead of myself, actually. I'm getting way ahead of myself. Yeah. This is a weird one for me because I was watching wrestling through all of this, so I remember this all happening and it all coming out, you know.
Yeah, it's bizarre how recent that actually was. Well, I say recent, it's about 10 plus years ago now, isn't it?
Just under 13 years ago. It's 2007 this was. So I'll quickly read out the timeline from WWE's point of view. On the Saturday after that, so I think that was the Wednesday, Chavo Guerrero, who was a friend of Chris Benoit, this was taken from the Talk is Jericho podcast. He said he received a text from Benoit saying that his wife Nancy and his son Daniel had food poisoning and he would be late for a house show. Chavo called him back and Benoit answered and sounded groggy and tired and confirmed what he said on the text, but Chavo decided to call him again as he felt he sounded off, but there was no answer. Eventually he'd speak to Chavo and persuade him he was okay and just tired from taking care of them. He would eventually end up showing the house show on Saturday evening, but he told him he'd get a flight that night and meet him in the following morning for the pay-per-view on the night.
Right.
But he would send a series of random texts to people on that night, just saying like, when you come to my house, this door is open, this one isn't, but this is where the dogs are, stuff like that. Apparently Chavo woke up in the night and thought, oh, that's all fine, I'm going to see him in the morning anyway, which is whatever, okay. But I can imagine you wouldn't think what's going to happen though.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to assume the worst, really, are you? You're just going to say, he's having a bit of a bad day or something, you know?
Because apparently, this is the thing, apparently they said, I've got a couple of little sound bites here from people talking about him after that. He was apparently just a lovely guy. Like, forever, he was the nicest guy, the most family-orientated guy. Like, family was first, wrestling second, which is the opposite to most wrestlers from when you read into it.
Yeah.
But on the Sunday then, the day of the pay-per-view, Benoit would fail to show up to meet Chavo the following morning at the airport. Later that morning, he called the WWE's talent relations office to let them know that he and his wife Nancy were with Daniel at the hospital as he was vomiting blood. He assured them he would be getting a later flight in time for the pay-per-view to face Punk for the title as planned. However, he would no-show the venture pay-per-view altogether. On the Monday, June 25th, 2007, WWE wrestlers and senior officials arrived in Corpus Christi for Raw to take place that night. As the early hours of the afternoon progressed and the show got closer to starting, WWE senior officials were increasingly concerned they hadn't heard from Benoit in 24 hours. Chavo Guerrero then showed the WWE talent relations John Laurinaitis the text he'd received from Chris and Nancy's cell phones in the early hours of Sunday. They eventually called the local police to go and check the household, and after discovering the bodies, the police notified WWE around 4:15 p.m. that there had been 3 bodies discovered in the house and it was ruled as a major crime scene. Now, I think most people probably know what, you know, like the whole, like we said before, the whole double murder suicide aspect of it, but at this point, the reason I started it talking about it from WWE's point of view was because I wanted to make a point of that, because upon learning it at 4:15 p.m., I think that's about 2 hours. I think the show starts at 7 in America. So about 2.5 hours before the Raw, they learned Benoit and his family had died.
Fuck it now.
So they decided to do a tribute show to Chris Benoit. Do you know about that at all?
No.
So about what? 2 hours and 45 minutes after learning of the deaths, they did a tribute show because they had no idea of what could have happened.
What had happened.
And they naturally assumed something legit had happened, you know, something separate. What I'll do now, I'll play a little thing. This is from the Something to Wrestle With podcast with Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson. Bruce Pritchard is for most of the time over the past 20 years, he's been the creative director, I guess is the best way to put it, behind WWE. So he was the one who would work with Vince and decide the storylines, what they were going to do for each show. For example, the tribute show. He worked very closely with Chris Benoit. One thing I do want to point out, or one thing that I find funny about this, is because everyone in the wrestling community loves this guy. I don't understand. It's called Conrad Thompson, the podcast guy. He does a podcast with Bruce Pritchard. He does one with JR from Jim Ross. He does one with Arn Anderson, Eric Bischoff from WCW. He's a dickhead. I don't know why people like him. He's a fucking dick. You'll hear what I mean in a minute. A little bit into this is like, oh no, it's too personal. I'm just going to let it go because I know Chris Benoit was close to you. But just to hear how long that lasts. Here we go.
Benoit, so then he gave a shot to Orton. Right. Obviously, it stuck with Orton more so than Benoit. I can tell by the way you're trying to move on. You don't want to talk about anything else with Benoit. Can we talk
Not
about
really.
Can we talk about it another time, or is that something you never want to talk about on the show?
I'm not real that comfortable talking about it.
Okay. Well, let's talk about. I'm just going to give you a pass on that. Everybody's going to bust my balls on Twitter, but I get it. Let's talk about
You know
Eddie
what?
Guerrero.
It's history, and that's what it is. And you know, a lot of it was very personal to me.
Real quick, because I don't know if we're ever going to talk about it again, so I can't let it just go. When did you guys know?
What?
Come on. You're doing the tribute show for Benoit. You find out the bad news. He no shows pay-per-view. You don't know what's going on. You find out the next day something bad happened. I think you guys found out on Monday. And then somewhere in the middle of the show, you realize, oh,
in the last half hour of the show.
Okay. Do you remember, like, when you get that call, is it just like a punch in the stomach, your heart's in your throat, what the hell?
Kind of indescribable. I mean, it's, yeah, I mean, words, that's hard to put into words. But
Were you panicked, embarrassed?
Shock.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just absolute shock.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you can tell it's a hard thing as well to talk about, like, when they're talking about it.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to let this go, but people on Twitter won't let me get away with it." And then, like 5 seconds later, he's like, "I can't let this go." It's like, "Fuck you, dude."
He's a fucking dick, man. He does it on everyone, and he tells all the people how they should have ran their show. He wasn't even alive when most of these shows are being ran, but he knows how they all should have ran.
Oh yeah, of course he does. Captain fucking Hindsight. Yeah,
it's exactly what I called him. Yes, exactly. Like, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
But I mean, so halfway through the last half an hour,
halfway through the show, they're like, "Okay, we've set this thing up to be a celebration of a guy and a mourning of him," and oh shit. Yeah.
So you can see why since then WWE probably. Vince McMahon, like obviously the shock and all that and the nastiness of it all, but also the embarrassment of them putting that on, and then all of a sudden they find out. So let's go through the actual details of what happened then very quickly. So Chris Benoit in this house with Nancy, a former not so much wrestler, but a former valet, as they called it back then. She was a manager for people. Called the Woman. That was her name.
Okay.
She was quite cool, to be fair in it.
Yeah.
So this was on Friday, June 22nd, 2007. Chris Benoit killed his wife, Nancy, in an upstairs bedroom. Her limbs were bound and her body was wrapped in a towel. A copy of the Bible was left by her body. Injuries indicated that Benoit had pressed a knee into her back while pulling on a cord around her neck, causing strangulation. No signs of immediate struggle. Toxicologists found alcohol in the body, but unable to figure out. I don't even know what that means for it, why that matters. But worse than that, though, his younger son, one of his sons, Daniel, he's got an older son, David Benoit. This was Daniel Benoit, had some type of neurosis disease. Something, one of the ones where the muscles wear away.
Oh yeah.
That was it.
Atrophying disease.
Yeah. That was the word. Yeah. He was suffocated and killed in his bedroom. A copy of the Bible was left by his body as well. He had internal injuries to the throat area, showing no bruises, but his exact time of death is unknown. When he was sedated with Xanax and he was likely unconscious when he was killed. So it's because of that. So this is a weird part that I didn't know until I read up on it recently. Because when I was originally trying to find videos about it, like of people talking about it, I looked at other wrestlers first, people that knew him like that. I didn't expect most of them to, yes, this guy was apparently a really nice guy and stuff, but most of them seemed to, well, not most of them, sorry, some of the ones that I saw, which was mainly like ex-talent, you could tell haven't really been doing too well lately.
And haven't had Vince McMahon telling them what they can say.
That too, yeah. But them also saying that they think because they can't tell when Daniel's body was found, when Daniel was killed, that they think there's a conspiracy that Nancy killed Daniel and then Benoit killed Nancy in defense of Daniel. It doesn't make much sense to me. It's just
it doesn't. Especially as like women very rarely kill their kids unless they're killing themselves first or after.
Yeah. This is the thing. It doesn't really follow that usual MO.
It's not that pattern. No.
And like you were saying as well, with the majority of like women's like murders, it's usually some kind of like poisoning or something like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't make much. But I mean,
this
doesn't sound like it. I mean, there's a lot more that goes into it. Look, what we said about, before I get ahead of that again, Benoit's suicide, for example, according to the city sheriff, he committed suicide by hanging. He used a weight machine cord to hang himself by creating a noose from the end of the cord and the pull down machine and did it through that way, basically.
Yeah.
It's
a pretty solid way of hanging yourself. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It's, It's efficient.
Yeah. At least he was using his brains at one point, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I don't buy the fact that he just suddenly went crazy. It's because he was putting thought into covering for himself and that. It's just it's a really weird one to talk about.
It's It's very calculated. The sort of giving them Xanax first, and because you don't give a kid Xanax, not unless you're you're Madeline McCann's parents
or them too.
Yeah.
There's no doubt they drugged up all their kids, all of them.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah. They are absolutely responsible for their daughter's death. No question whether they killed her directly or not. They're responsible.
I don't think they killed her directly because that's just yeah. But they were definitely in some way they did not help the situation.
I mean, the Benoit thing is just strange because of how immediate it was. And like, do we know the exact sort of turn of events? Like, were they dead when he first missed something, or was it later on down the line?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. That's what I meant to point out. So when he was talking on the Saturday to Chavo about being at the hospital with about them both having food poisoning and he was looking after them, Nancy was already dead at that point. She was dead the day before.
Shit.
Yeah, it seems likely that so Benoit was still alive obviously on the Sunday because he spoke to talent relation, but it's probably at some point in this. Okay, because with Daniel, they don't know exactly when the cause of, when he died. Hence why that conspiracy between some of the wrestlers that I saw, about talking about, well, we don't know who killed who first. Kind of, and that was it. Yeah, when
sounds
they did
like wishful thinking to me more than any actual proof. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, because they knew the guy and they don't want to think, that would happen to someone we really liked, that we knew and trusted, and that. You know what? Before I go any further, actually, I will play this last little bit. It's Jim Cornette talking about it. He was asked, what was it, the actual question? He was asked if wrestling caused the death of Chris Benoit. Because during the post-mortem afterwards, they said that he had the brain of an 87-year-old or something like that.
Okay, now.
And he was like, I don't know his actual age, but he would have been late 40s, early 40s, something like that, late 30s, early 40s, sorry. But Jim Cornette, I love Jim Cornette. Did you, if you remember wrestling at all from back in the day, he was the guy who used to run around with the tennis racket in his hand.
I don't think I ever saw that.
He's just a very straight talker. He's got a podcast at the moment. And I love his podcast because he is just, I love people that are unapologetically honest. I just love it. For right or wrong, I don't always agree with him, but I love him because he's unapologetically honest all the time. So this was his opinion from about 7 years ago.
All I know is I knew Chris for years beforehand. He was the nicest, most level-headed, polite guy, very serious, but at the same time very polite, very dedicated, and driven to be the best. He was a guy you would have trusted with anything in the world, and nobody can know. And was it a perfect storm? Was it that he got whacked over the head with something too many times? Was it that he had taken steroids, as some people have said, it was, to get bigger in a business that didn't, usually feature small guys? Well, I don't know. That would be the classic steroid rage of all time. Was it that, it wasn't the same guy? I can't make any excuses for what he did. And obviously Nancy was a friend of mine. I'd known Nancy longer than I'd known Chris. But it wasn't the same Chris Benoit. Whatever made him go crazy, he went crazy. And that proves, unfortunately, that even people that you would trust with your life and think are the sweetest people in the world can, at some point, go fucking crazy.
I mean, you can't put it better than that, can you?
No, you can't. You can't. And I'm almost certain it was triggered by CTE.
Yeah, it must
like
be.
that. Personally,
It
had to be. Yeah, but whether he had a baseline mental health thing underneath it that had to be triggered, or whether it was something that was specifically caused by it.
There is a slight trigger that happened a few years before, which is obviously different than most triggers because normally triggers are a lot more recent. But going from people that knew him, you've heard the name Eddie Guerrero?
Yeah.
So Eddie was his best friend. He used to be the only person he would confide in. And then Eddie, it was a few years before. This one bothered me at the time because I was a huge fan of Eddie. He just died randomly in his hotel room. And then, Benoit just... A lot of people say that might have been the point from when he declined, basically, because it was his best friend.
Because he no longer had his best friend around. And
and that adding to getting smacked in the head every night ain't gonna help.
No, it's not. And it's difficult because you kind of want to make an excuse.
There's no excuse. This is the
but
thing,
there isn't.
There's no excuse. This is one thing I meant to include earlier as well. In case it sounds to anyone listening that, like, I, for example, am making excuses because I'm just a huge wrestling fan. It's not at all. It's like there's a lot of situations where people are talking about whether he should go into the Hall of Fame. No, never. Should never go into any Hall of Fame. It doesn't matter what you did for your life. If you do that at the end, that's
and
it.
It can. You can very easily admit that it was something psychological that he had no control over, but at the same time, that doesn't negate what happened. You can't just go, we'll just call that a wash,
But at least because since then, WWE and every other wrestling company's followed suit as well. They no longer have any shots to the head. If you watch a wrestling match nowadays, like they had a last man standing match yesterday in Royal Rumble. Anyone that didn't watch the Rumble, check it out. It's fucking great.
It does happen accidentally, though.
Yeah, of course.
Like the famous Brock Lesnar bam fall. Have you seen that? You must have seen it.
Of course I've seen it.
Can you set that up? Because I need to see that right now.
Of course I can. Tell me a few seconds, I can do it.
This is, let's hope you don't go all Benoit on us, but this is a severe fucking impact.
Especially when you consider that the guy he was fighting at the time had a broken neck.
Yeah.
Brock. And funnily enough, I don't think you even realise how close that keyed into it, because it was almost Brock Lesnar versus Chris Benoit in this main event.
Really?
Yeah, because Kurt was so hurt, he almost had to pull out last minute.
Fucking hell.
Shooting star. There we go. Share screen, Chrome tab, that one, share audio. Here we go.
This is madness.
Oh, let me turn it down. Where is it? It's somewhere here. Oh, am I on the wrong base?
I think he lays him down on the ground, then he goes for
here
it.
it
and
is.
he
Yeah,
leaps. Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up in a second now.
Yeah, here we go.
Fuck.
Oh,
Let's try that again.
Jesus Christ.
We shouldn't laugh after what we just talked about, but
No,
this wasn't the worst.
it's just...
Oh, I got this in the way. That was his special, though, you know.
Oh, God.
When he was, oh, shit, go away.
How do you do that? How can anyone survive that level of impact? Like,
That was his special, you know.
Jesus.
Until, like he actually started in WWE and started using the F5, and he was like, "I'll just pull you out of WrestleMania, you'll be fine. I can do it." No, apparently not.
No.
But yeah,
What
that
a
bit at the
piece of
end though, with Jim Cornette, like sometimes people just go crazy. I'm totally gonna have to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to add that into the intro into the titles intro.
Yeah.
Gonna have to do it. It has to be.
Yeah.
So I
And it's
think
always the ones you least expect. If people are mental around you quite regularly, you can usually be quite assured that that's their base level of mental.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. I'm this level of weird all the time, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that's everything with the Chris Benoit thing. I was kind of winging it with that, to be quite honest with you. I thought I had more of a structure to my story. I didn't. I realised when I loaded up the document.
That's fine. It's an interesting thing. And the problem with that story in particular, well, I say it's a problem. It's not really a problem because it's sort of... There is so much intrigue and people are never really going to know what happened between Benoit and his wife.
Yeah.
What happened, you know, to cause that chain of events to go down. Yeah, no, I mean, it's not the only time it's happened, you know, with any kind of sport. I mean, the amount of American football players who've done horrible things, and there's just, don't fuck with your brains, people. They're you know.
It's surprising you don't hear about it more from rugby, because rugby is like American football, just without the pads and the helmets.
That's the reason why, though. It's the same thing as boxing, because in rugby you don't wear pads. You are far less likely to impact someone with your head. You're going to do everything you physically can to hit them with a shoulder or an arm or something like that, and you're not going to aim for the head because you know you're going to fuck this person up. Yeah.
And them.
Whilst in American football, they're all wearing the helmet, so they just go bang right into each other head on. And it's like, well, your brain is still sloshing around inside your skull. When your head stops, that brain keeps going and goes bang into your skull. And people never remember that part of it. And it's the same, as I say, with boxing, because like UFC gets a lot less concussions than boxing.
Which is
in
weird,
boxing, you've got big soft gloves and you just hammer at someone's head over and over and over again with a soft cushioned fist, but it's still rocking the brain about inside its skull.
Yeah. Even though
with like fists, you don't go for the head because you keep breaking your knuckle.
I just say that, but the end of most UFC fights are them pummeling them on the floor to make sure they're knocked out.
Yeah, but the thing is, that is sort of a different level of power that they can put in comparison to if they had a big spongy thing over the top of their fist and they go, I can barely feel this.
Oh, I feel it actually, yeah.
I'm
with it.
It's all about sort of limiting the amount of damage you want to do to yourself, and your body automatically does that. It's like when you try and hit yourself. You know what I mean? Your body doesn't let you hit yourself at maximum speed because your body's going, why the fuck are you doing this? This is stupid.
Yeah. your body works against you in many ways. Like it's impossible to just like hold your breath and die. You can't suffocate holding your breath. Your body will never let you do that.
You will pass out, and then your body will go.
Basically, though, yeah.
Yeah. Because your body just has automatic reactions that it does without your consent. It's like,
because otherwise you'd be screwed every time you fall asleep.
Yeah, I mean, if you had to think about breathing all the time, if you had to think about pumping your blood all the time, it would be you'd never get anything done. It's like there's a game out there somewhere called Manual Samuel, I think it is, and you've got to move this guy around. You've got to move legs independently, arms independently, breathe by pressing the space bar. You've got to,
Anxious about living playing that game.
Yeah. The thing is, basically, it's like death turns up and he goes, you were supposed to die. I'm going to give you one more chance. If you can survive an entire day whilst having to do all of your bodily functions manually, you can live.
Could you imagine having a wife? Jeez.
Oh, I wouldn't even attempt it, mate. I would literally just go home and focus on breathing for hours on end.
I meant to say to you, after watching the In Your House beginning bit, never cut your hair again. The long hair suits you.
Yeah, the thing is about my hair, it either suits me if it's genuinely short. So like a two either side and a crop on top. Actually,
I can't imagine it.
I can show you I can show you that. I can show you that if I find it correctly. Liked videos.
We got a video of it.
Sorry, there's. Oh yeah. It's from a movie I was in.
Oh, okay.
Not a
Viagra or...
Sorry?
Did they give you Viagra or was it? I've always wondered that with porn films, so you can tell me now.
Nah, unfortunately, it wasn't quite that fun. It was a lot of fun though. It was basically a micro budget comedy movie.
Yeah.
But fuck me, there's so much of.
I was supposed to do that literally just before lockdown started, last year. I was supposed to do. It was just a student film that I was doing some horror thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got cancelled obviously when the lockdown started. Push back, and they probably fucking finished the course by now. Yeah.
And it should be with you now.
Is that with me?
Get ready to see my acting.
I don't know. I'm gonna screen share it right there.
And I look very different.
Okay.
It goes to show how versatile I am as an actor. If you do need an actor for anything at all, and you're part of a big company that can pay me lots of money, or even a small one that can pay me a little, do get in touch.
Oh shit! I didn't mean to play that then.
That's all right.
I was taking the thing off first so we can see it.
Yeah. Maximum volume. Let's listen to this bastard.
Maximum volume.
Here we go.
Streets and workplaces of Britain are the safest in the world, and that's entirely due to the Panopticon. 1 billion cameras streaming direct to the internet 24 hours a day mean any of us can report an accident or a crime happening anywhere. So if I were to tell you that 4 out of 5 crimes in the UK happen in an area without cameras, would you ever walk down an unsupervised street again? No. So why take that danger at home? Introducing Panopticon for Home. Our wide range of observational devices mean we'll be keeping an eye on your family at all times. Nothing says palace of safety like a P70S in your living room. Falling over in the shower? You'd be laughing with this waterproof Observo dome. Know for sure you don't have any terrorists in your wardrobe with a Closet Cam 9000. No privacy with the Mini Nano Whisper Cam. You won't even know you're being filmed. Act now and get Canary Family Season 2 with me, Simon West, absolutely free. I know I sleep better with someone watching over me.
This message was approved by the Ministry of Citizenship.
There you go.
Great, man.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, that was from a movie called I think it was the Canary Files. They ended up calling it in the end, by a friend of mine called David Zolman. And oh god, I can't remember his bloody name now. The director's name. Genuinely great dude, and I can't believe Rami. That was it. I think it was Rami. And
banging, I like
just
that.
fucking, it's such a great experience making a film, man. It's so good. It's one of the things I want to do once all this COVID shit's fucked off. I've got it's an idea I've wanted to do for a film for fucking ages. And I finally got to the point now where I'm like, fuck it, may as well just try and do it, you know?
One good thing about all this kind of stuff is it makes you want to do all the stuff that you thought before you wanted to do, or like we were saying before, it's like you don't want to second guess having that chance to do things now.
Yeah. Now we've got the opportunity to do some shit. We're gonna fucking do it. Yeah.
I'm gonna admit as well, you with the short hair and cleaned up in a suit. Clean up well. It's all right, isn't it? Yeah. But
really that's the thing. It's got to be that short, or it's got to be like long. Anything between, and it sort of looks a bit like Anne Widdecombe. So.
This is like the first ever time I've had shaved hair, just because I knew we'd be able to get to the hairdressers again, and I thought I've been wanting to do it for a long time, just thinking to myself, I bet it'd be so freeing to just shave all your hair off. Really,
yeah.
Even more so when you do the full hog and go do the same with your balls. It's even better.
Yeah, give me a number 1 all over. Right.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
So then, shall I?
Go ahead.
I shall go ahead. Now, this is it's not really all that murdery this time. It's a bit more conspiracy based this time. It's a bit of an interesting one. Now, have you ever heard of Polybius?
No. Polybius.
Yes, you will have heard of it from one place, The Simpsons. It was in an episode of The Simpsons in the background. Now, Polybius is basically, it's an urban legend of a computer game that appeared supposedly in the 1980s in various arcades. And what people kept on saying, or supposedly saying, and apparently the actual legend emerged in the 2000s. So whether there's any truth to it or not is completely, we don't know. It's probably not true, but basically,
I'm going to do this story now. No truth to it.
It's probably not true, because Polybius would appear in certain arcades throughout America over the years, and it would never stay in one place for a particularly long length of time. But particular things started to happen around this arcade cabinet. And there is to a certain extent, you can see spikes of things happening in areas where supposedly it was, and people will give you information on it. But the thing that made it very interesting is the fact that people started having psychological effects, supposedly, whilst playing Polybius. Now, these started as just basically headaches and things like that, but would gradually develop to insomnia, anxiety, panic attacks, and even like death and like psychological conditioning to make you murder, supposedly.
Oh, okay.
Now, the reason why, apparently, the legend describes the game as basically sort of fairly simplistic in its gameplay, but very, very addictive, like unbelievably addictive.
Yeah.
To the point where people would not stop playing it for days and days and days. And then people in black suits would come along, not take any money out of the machine, but simply like do something to the back of the machine. Take data from the back of the machine, supposedly, on people who've been playing Polybius. Now, the case, I don't know if you can see this, was supposed to look like that.
Let me put the thing on.
Just a big black case with Polybius written on it. You see?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So very plain, just
Yeah. But the game is described as basically being incredibly popular in the places where it turned up, to the point where there were fucking queues lined up to play Polybius. Each one of these brainwashed kids after another, pumping more and more coins into this repetitive, but addictive game. Now,
which is even more surprising.
This is where
it's not a well-known name as well.
Yeah, and it's actually based off of a Greek god, I think, in mythology, and apparently, this is one of the theories, is that someone appeared on a forum and was talking about being the person who created Polybius, and the reason why it was called Polybius is because the person who was the lead designer researched a lot of Greek mythology, was really into psychological stuff, and the reason why it got cancelled is because the higher ups of the company were saying, "Oh, we've got to modify it in this way and that way and this way," and they were going, "We're not comfortable with this anymore," and apparently washed their hands of the whole affair and walked away. So yeah, so the Men in Black collects the data from the machines, and allegedly it's testing responses to the game's psychoactive effects.
That's the bit I keep calling
back. Yeah. The effects also, and I didn't include these ones, not just amnesia, insomnia, all that kind of stuff, night terrors, hallucinations, and approximately one after its release in 1981, it's said to have disappeared without a trace. Like, the game is gone. No one's ever seen it since, except it's been rumored on various internet forums. One internet forum here says, "We've got a cabinet for sale. We've just found it." Another place goes, "Well, we've got the source code for something, but it's not complete." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about it,
interesting that there's no trace of it and stuff. That of its own is interesting.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, just after this, okay, what happens in gaming?
What do you mean?
We see a lot of, well, it's not right after this because it's 1981, but we've seen a shift over the years to things like Facebook games. Incredibly simple. Incredibly low graphics, like Polybius. But people are fucking addicted to playing them constantly. Do you remember Zynga games?
Yeah, isn't it
like fucking Farmville stuff? Yeah. And it's all about keeping people addicted and constantly playing and constantly doing that same game loop over and over again and again and again.
About it as well.
Yeah.
The addiction is like having the game for free and then paying little bits as you go through.
Yeah. And it's a very effective way to get people to buy stuff, because it's all about comparison at that point. Look at that person over there; they've got this really cool skin. That would be cool if I had that skin.
You can see
incidentally what Army Hammer says quite often.
I understood that reference now.
So, the origins, supposedly, the viral and anecdotal nature of it basically means that the exact origin is unclear. We can't be sure whether it was a company that made it or whether it was a government experiment, as a lot of people like to think, or whether it's just an urban legend. But
I mean, the government did a lot of experiments back then in worse ways than that. Much worse ways.
I mean, maybe Benoit was a fan of Polybius. Maybe it is.
Not where I was going, but I agree with that as well. People used to
But yeah,
get
so,
like Space Invaders and everything, didn't they? Like another Simpson reference that I thought of from that was like Groundskeeper
oh
Willie
yeah,
can't move his thumbs because he was addicted to Space Invaders.
yeah. That was a great one. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, you can genuinely see the Polybius cabinet with Polybius written on it in a Simpsons episode.
Oh, okay,
But I think they had an orange cabinet, which is also interesting because, like, some people have said it was an orange cabinet, some people have said it was a black cabinet. It's one of those things again that's sort of been lost throughout time. But so the anecdotal accounts claim that the legend originated on Usenet, a website in 1994 or earlier through offline word of mouth, though no recorded evidence exists for either claim. The earliest confirmed record of the legend is an entry from a title added to arcade game resource coinop.org on February 6, 2000. This is where we get the mention of a cabinet existing. But the interesting thing is, that was a single announcement of it, right? And everyone goes, oh yeah, well, it's just another arcade cabinet. But people on that website suddenly start going, I remember that game. I played that game. Oh, it was like this. It was like this. And loads of people start popping up in various places going like, oh, I played it. It had this type of thing. Apparently it's like a corridor almost gameplay type thing, if you know what I mean. And you're like shooting things in a like little area, and it's
so like
difficult
kind of
to
like
describe.
asteroids, that kind of thing.
Sort of like that, but I think it's supposed to be more of like on rails, almost like a sort of Starwing, but not Starwing, and sort of
Okay,
I'm not sure.
like,
I'm not sure. But yeah.
From the sounds of it,
There
it
is
blew up a lot more than they expected it to as well.
yeah. The entry name mentions the name Polybius and a copyright date of 1981, although no copyright has actually been registered supposedly. But again, if it's a government thing, you can wipe that off.
That is actually very interesting. If there was never any kind of copyright for that game that had been put through, then that game existed. It seems quite obvious that that game existed.
Yeah. Well,
So
this is it. Yeah. What was I doing? Fuck. See, this is the problem when I try and just go through it.
Welcome to my life, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Now, following the appearance in the Game Pro magazine, because it appears multiple places later on throughout the years and starts gaining more traction. This is the other interesting thing. As it keeps going, more and more people are like, no, I remember playing this. I remember playing that. Whether it's like a Mandela effect type thing.
Yeah.
We can't be sure,
But normally with a Mandela effect, it'd be like there was something else that sounded like it, wouldn't there? Or something.
Yeah, something that would have tricked you into thinking, oh, that happened, but it didn't, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
But Polybius is such a distinct name, and the way they describe the gameplay is so different to the vast majority of games that were being played in 1981. It just feels very strange. But a number of people claim to have had some involvement with Polybius after the Game Pro magazine thing airs. In 2006, a man named Stephen Roach claimed he had been one of its original programmers and that his company had developed a game with very intense and cutting-edge graphics. However, according to Roach, a boy experienced an epileptic seizure while playing, and the cabinets were withdrawn by the company in a panic. Although Roach offered no proof for his claims, his story added details on the gameplay, which later inspired Rogue Synapse's game based on the legend. That's right. Polybius is now an actual game that you can buy.
Okay.
Whether it has actually got anything to do with the original Polybius, we can never be sure, or whether it's even there.
Okay.
People heard about the legend and started making this version of it, and trying to base it off of what they'd heard about the gameplay and what people had remembered about it and stuff like that. Now, of course, the original game's existence has never been authoritatively proven. At no point has anyone gone, yes, we have absolute proof that Polybius was a real thing and it does exist. Snopes did a popular thing on it, concluding that the game's a modern day version of a 1980s a modern day version of 1980s rumors of Men in Black. In this case, visiting arcades and taking down the names of high scores at arcade games. This led to the hypothesis that the government was hosting some experiment, sending subliminal messages to the players, etc., etc., etc. Unfortunately, a quote apparently according to the Yahoo Games, there is no evidence that the game ever existed. No less turned its users into babbling lunatics. Still, Polybius has enjoyed a cult-like status as a throwback to a more technologically paranoid era.
I mean, there's a lot of. I was just having a quick look on Google when you were saying about it, and there's a lot of pictures of the game that exists.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff about Polybius.
Yeah, like this doesn't even look like it's debatable, really.
Nah,
it's just a machine there.
There's one here from Input, which is Polybius is real, and this is a really interesting one because it basically goes through. Okay, so maybe the vast majority of like the mind control aspects of it may have not been true, but this is where I get the idea for modern games taking ideas from Polybius.
Yeah,
this idea of making gameplay itself so repetitive, but in such a satisfying way that the person simply cannot let themselves leave the game alone. And it's not like this is impossible to think of. We've had situations. Yeah, I mean, there are people who've died playing World of Warcraft because they were more likely to feed their character in the game than go and get a sandwich. You know,
and that's literal. Yeah.
So, sorry, I got something
like that. It's like the concept of. I mean, the concept of that makes perfect sense too. The concept of you look at the time because you said it was around the 80s or something.
Around about the 80s, just as like this kind of tech's beginning to turn up, governments might be interested in having a little play around, seeing what it's about. You know, and what can we do with this new kind of technology, this new interactive environment?
And there's literally, it's just confirmed at this point that the CIA around that time were looking into various forms of mind control. It's not even debatable. It's confirmed.
No, I mean, there was what was it?
I'm trying to think of the main one. Yeah, it's bothering me because I'm thinking of Midnight Climax, but that was the prostitute version of the other one. What is this? We're thinking of the same thing.
Here we are.
For fuck's sake.
Fuck, this is annoying.
Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna fucking Google. Come here, Google.
Yeah.
MK Ultra, you butthole.
MK Ultra, yeah. The MK Ultra program was fucking huge, and there is no reason this couldn't be connected to it. And the thing is, what I find interesting is back when I was at university, you did a Google on Polybius, and you would get loads of stuff come up. Loads more than what we're getting today.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the stuff today, you look at it and it just goes, nah, it wasn't real. Back in the day, you'd look on it and it was like, but was it real? And maybe a bit this, and then you go and find a forum and there'd be loads of people going like, I remember this bit, I remember this bit, I remember this bit, I remember this bit. It's just
the exact same thing.
I don't know.
The Tower 7 thing. I was like, there was a lot more videos in this like years ago when I looked at it, I swear.
Yeah, there really were. Really were, and I didn't notice that until you showed me in the episode we did. There is just not as much footage as there used to be.
I mean, you could try and explain that away by people saying, you know, that the years have gone by and they've reported the inaccurate stuff. It's like, well, I mean, Tower 7, that's one thing, but a fucking video game.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. If you want to look at it from a point of view, that there was nothing to it. Why would all this stuff
couldn't happen? But at the same time, but that's the thing. It's like we know that people get a dopamine rush when they complete a quest in a game. We know that's why people get so. Oh my god! Speaking of people going too far with gaming. Have you seen Have you seen the video? Go to the toilet. You are shitting yourself.
No.
Oh my god. Oh. Yeah,
already-
go to the bathroom now, Origin. Just go to the bathroom now, Origin, into Google, and just click the YouTube link you get, because oh my fucking god.
It's based on an actual in-game video.
This is even better than that. This is pure real life, and it
No, but
is
I mean-
so fucking funny.
I've gone on to YouTube and I typed it in and I've got go to the bathroom full video, the legend itself.
That's the one.
It sounds like you might be right.
This is the one, man. This is fucking classic. This is the best.
It's coming. Where are we?
Here we go.
Is that the right one?
That's the right one.
That's it.
So this kid is streaming, right?
Yeah.
He's streaming, and he's been streaming for a while.
You talk from when you die. That's the new rule of the game. You talk, you die.
Here we go.
Demetrius, get off the game, go to the bathroom, and take a shit. Now.
Hey.
Bathroom and shit now. Go to the bathroom and take a shit. Smell you. Get off.
Hey,
Go to the bathroom.
get out.
Go to the bathroom. I can smell you shitting yourself.
Oh God.
Now.
No.
Get
No.
up and go to
No.
the bathroom.
Oh my God.
Go to the bathroom. You're shitting yourself.
Not yet.
Go to the bathroom. You're shitting yourself.
Not yet.
I will rip
No.
everything
Not
off.
yet.
God.
He's shitting himself.
You're shitting yourself.
Oh God.
Not yet.
You're shitting.
Oh God.
Not yet. No.
Go to the bathroom.
Not yet.
Oh God.
Oh my God. What the hell?
Oh. So
That's
people
like-
can take gaming too far, Carl.
Yeah, I have learned. Fucking hell.
Oh
You know
shit!
what is
And
none
so
of that
it doesn't
surprises
surprise me that someone could potentially get absorbed in a game to the point where if it was supposed to
absorbed
give
to
you
the
a
point something
psychological
else-
reaction, it would. You know what I mean?
To the point of something else has been absorbed in his pants.
Yeah.
God.
Oh, it's just the
is most
anger as
worst
well.
part.
Yeah, the anger in it is so good. Just this, you're shitting yourself.
I just heard my mum's voice through that. That's all I heard then.
Yeah, that's all
Oh, God.
anyone hears is just yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh fuck. Yeah, I saw that today and that just creased me so much. It was so funny, man.
I could buy that
Oh.
whole Polybius thing though, because it just seems like there's just I don't know, it's just weird. It's like you look on
There's
Google and what
something
it says,
about it.
and it's just
Yeah.
there. It doesn't even seem like it's debatable.
And
And
there's-
then
Yeah. Sorry. And there's just something about that story in particular that keeps coming back up. You know?
Hmm.
Keeps
Ooh,
yeah,
I'm doing
keeps being added to over the years, and people are sort of discovering more bits here and there. And I don't know.
It's just
I just
weird.
I like it.
yeah, it's just weird. Anyway, like just the little things that you said in there, like the fact that there was never a copyright for Polybius, and then they've all
Yeah.
seen this. If there wasn't a copyright for anything even slightly similar to it, it just makes
Yeah.
no sense. And then
And not
people
only that, but
react
like
to it.
yeah, and they made a game based off of the description of the gameplay of Polybius.
Yeah,
You know, so this new company copied a game that didn't exist.
did those people that saw that say that it was familiar to what they saw?
Oh, supposedly it is quite similar. It's based off of vaguely what people have said about it, you know.
Yeah, because normally with the Mandela effect, after a certain point, you can kind of see that, okay, yeah, it's probably not what you think it is.
It's probably, probably someone just forgot about it and mixed it up with something else. But in this one, it's like there's this, I don't know, there's a degree of intrigue to it. It's like seeing that cabinet as well with Polybius written across it. And it looks like something you would see in an arcade cabinet in the 80s. And whether that's just fantastic design, I don't know. But I personally like to think that there's a little bit of truth to it, whether it's 100% true or not. You know,
I mean, I'm very much of the opinion that if there's a lot of consensus about one memory and there's nothing been proved against it, there's probably a good chance it's true.
Yeah. And I mean, this is the thing, like there's multiple ways it could have been there and then disappeared. You know, whether it be government influence or whether it be the company needing to get rid of it because, you know, it was a bit bad for their image or something like that, you know.
And maybe like it wasn't copyrighted because the company was doing something illegal and they decided to just destroy it.
Yeah, exactly. And they just remove that patent. Or if that company was working with the government and it was all supposed to continue going and then it all fucks up and like, this isn't going the way we thought it would, guys. Let's, you know, fucking cut this shit quick.
But because it worked too well, if apparently like, if we look at like, you know, getting into tin foil hat territory, like, you know. But
let's do it, man. Let's go for it. Let's get in there.
It's like with the MK Ultra stuff, you know, you imagine like they were looking at mind control at that point. So what say that they didn't do it and then realize, you know what, it's working a little bit too well. So let's get rid of it quietly now. Figure it out into something going forward.
Yeah. But again, like if you
LSD on the joystick,
use Polybius, But if you that's a good idea. But I mean, if you can set up a game to control someone's mind to the point where they get hallucinations, night terrors, amnesia, things like this, genuine psychological effects, if you can then make that code a bit more nuanced, if you can make the way it interacts with the person's brain a bit more to what you want it to do, then there's a potential chance for controlling large swathes of the population, which, you know, again, Facebook things, all of these things are just like this, like that, do this, do that, you know, follow this and follow this person, follow that person, do a reshare, do a retweet, do this, do that, and do the.
It makes sense.
It's interacting in a very unnatural way, but a way that is very beneficial for governments and, you know, because it's all there. They can read all of it. They can pay attention to all of it. And if they, and you know, with like influences of news articles and stuff like that, when Facebook, which is almost life, is now gamified. Where's the line in that? Where do where does it finish?
I think that's one of the things with the pandemic as well. It's brought all of that, like the whole talk of like, you know, like the whole glitch in the matrix kind of like thing, because it kind of fits into that too. Not glitch in the matrix, sorry, the whole virtual reality eventually get into like, you know, just a technology based life, you know, kind of fits into that too.
I find it really fascinating, just as a concept of how to hack people's brains. And it's like, I've got Derren Brown's book over there. I mean, that's trick of the mind stuff. It's very simple, rudimentary things that you can do to just suggest something that makes someone want to do something later on down the line. You know?
And you all feel like when you hear that kind of thing, you feel like, oh no, that wouldn't work on me. But it does. It works on everyone.
Yeah, it requires more effort on some people than others. It's like when Derren Brown does the long form stuff, he's always working with one person for an incredibly long period of time. And it's like, oh, we did this with his family and we got them to say this to him. And then we had this breakdown and we had this and this and this and this and this, all leading up to this eventual point where Derren Brown gets the result he wants. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember some some apocalypse one he did. There was some apocalypse one he did, wasn't it? Like that, wasn't it? Someone started off in
The
like
zombie
an
one.
arcade game.
Where it's like the entire world is a zombie fucking apocalypse. You've got to survive in this, and he had actual people like against the things trying to claw their way in and shit.
Didn't he say something about something in his head so that he wouldn't actually kill them?
Yeah, he sort of suggested it over and over again because at one point he was literally driving past zombies, and if he'd had the idea in his head that they're dead, he could have just gone thump.
Well, if it was a zombie, if it was a realistic zombie world, you'd have to do that.
Yeah. Why would you? Why wouldn't you? Yeah.
Walking Dead starting up again soon, actually, isn't it? Did you ever watch that? You were a fan of that?
I was supposed to. I watched the first 2 seasons. Yeah, and then I just sort of stopped. And that's the way I am with so many like shows at the moment. I like Mandalorian. I'm still only on episode 6 or 7, and like everyone else I know has finished both seasons, and I haven't even started watching Game of Thrones. And
that's what you should watch.
Yeah.
I hate Lord of the Rings and any of that fantasy stuff. I fucking hate it. But Game of Thrones is good.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Until you get to the first few seasons. Yeah.
Force yourself through the first series and then just grin and bear it through the last series. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
First series is
fantastic.
Yeah. And there's a lot of family fucking and limp penises.
Yeah, and kids getting kicked out of fucking towers because they saw a brother and a sister banging, and
kid's a dick though.
Yeah.
He's by the end of it, you're like, fuck you, Bran. Fuck you, sideways. Fucking dickhead. I'm sitting around in my fucking chair. I'm like 3-odd waving, you fucking twat. I don't understand how he got his wheelchair around everywhere. They're doing some mountain covered place, doing north of the wall with all these crazy things, and he's got a wheelchair though.
Yeah, it's because he's a little shit and he's making them carry him up the stairs and stuff all the fucking time. Yeah,
use a download. It's that every time a download, there's always one phrase that just goes around the whole place.
Every time, yeah.
What do you remember?
Yeah, the first year I was there, it was Butt Scratcher. From Family Guy. Yeah, Butt Scratcher. Butt Scratcher.
The same year.
Yeah. And then of course at download in particular, you will just be fast asleep in the middle of the night, and then out of the blue, you just hear someone scream, "Download!" and everyone else go, "Download!"
I remember one from I think it was the year after Back Scratcher. Actually, no, it was a couple of years after that. Actually, because I had a break. It was when Hodor
was it Buswank? Oh right, yeah. No, that was
Hodor stuff. It was hold the door.
Yeah.
Well,
see the one I did I think it was 2009. I think maybe was
Scratcher. I think
no, because Butt Scratcher I think was 2007 or 2006. The first one I did, and the 2009 one I kept on hearing was Buswankers. Because of In-Betweeners, and it was just always Buswanker. I
wasn't there for that one, luckily. My friends had a thing about it though. They used to I used to hang out with a load of people who used to chilling. We built tree houses and got high in tree houses. Basically, used to see people jogging past, and they'd be like, "Jogging wankers," and the people would be like,
"Yeah."
We built a boat.
I missed that. Yeah,
we built a boat. It was in America and everything. No, it floated. It floated. Only because we stole a load of in construction yards they used to have the big things that they'd have there in case anyone fell off. The huge padded things.
Oh yeah.
We had at one point we had some weird tents set up where we used to chill at the top of this hill, and we used to just jump off this springboard that we made and jump into these pile of fucking things. And then one day we decided, you know what, we could make a boat out of these. And they had the little things you could put together where you popped them in and out. I forget what they're called now. You see them on boats, you see them on everything. The little things where they pop in and they clip in, like a dog's collar.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, we just put like 9 of them together and put wood all over the top and just went down the canal. It was really fun.
I remember getting a boat at one point in Stratford because they'd got rowing boats around.
Yeah, yeah.
And my mate and a couple of his friends, we were all on a rowing boat, and they managed to let the oars go. And so we just sat in the middle of a river with the oar gradually fucking off down the river. And everyone was like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I don't know. So I just sort of go, fucking take my fucking wallet and my phone, and I just jump in and start swimming after the oar. But of course, it's fucking freezing. And also, it turns out, when you jump into a river and there's loads of like shit at the bottom, it takes quite a while to get to the top again.
Funnily enough, it's almost as if people die like that.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? But I managed to get to the top again. Everything's all right. And but by the time I've sort of managed to get my bearing, I'm going after the oar, and the oar fucks off down a weir. So I've got to climb up onto the it's like a little waterfally thing. I climb on top of the weir, and
I appreciate that.
And then I've got to climb down into the fucking bottom of the weir, right where it's all sort of the water's torrenting down on top of you to get the oar. And just as I get the oar, I pull my foot up, and I just get, when your foot touches the bottom of the silt at the bottom of a river, and then suddenly you just get a gout of like sulphurous shit smell coming into your face. Just lots and lots of that, to the point where I wanted to puke. And then after all of this shit, after it's taken me ages to get this fucking thing together and sort it all out, the guy who owns the boat, who rented it to us, turns up and he just goes, "Oh yeah, no, you didn't have to do that. I would have gone down and got it in the other boat if you wanted." You
were men. You took care of your own problem. I appreciate
I'm
that.
I'm a fucking champion.
Hello, Internet. Now please hold on to your butt as two comedians attempt to talk about serious subjects in a not so serious manner. From the mysterious to the utterly vicious, everything is fair game. This is the Kill Them With Comedy podcast, featuring true crime, amazing events, conspiracies, unsolved mysteries, and an array of weird and wonderful topics, all for your enjoyment. You're welcome.
And that proves that even people that you would trust with your life can, at some point, go fucking crazy.